stretch the leg a little bit. Not you, Mike. You can sit down. But what about, have you ever done that or thought about that or practiced that for your brand specifically? Your brand, or the company that you're building, or the book that you're writing, or anything like that. Have you practiced that particular thing in 15 seconds? Have you done that? Okay, everybody's thinking. All right. So what about, what if you have? So if those are the people who've done that for their brand, especially too. Remain standing if you have, your slogan in place, your brand standards, or things like that you have that you can perfectly deliver to somebody.
That's perfect.
Or you just have that, that spiel that you have. We have your 15-second spiel that we know X, Y, and Z. We have our slogan, we have this, we have that, and that's what I said.
I got the mingle dance.
That's good. That's great. Now this is really great that you have, that your brand and your company and your just personal self, you have that little spiel, you have the, the certain words that define your brand, a certain story that you told, things like that really tie people into your brand and make sure that that's there. And that's kind of what this was all about. You all, because it's in this, I want to distract you. Is that true? Right. So what you want to do, and the reason why we mingle real quick, you want to make sure that you get to the point. There's a reason why, there's not necessarily a reason why commercials are expensive. But I mean, as far as 15, 30, and 60-second commercial, right? You only get that much time to really deliver whatever your message is to people, whether it's on the radio, whether it's on TV and stuff like that. So you want to have a short, sweet, and impactful spiel, your spiel for your brand, for yourself, for whatever it is. And then some of which, we'll speak of in a moment as far as how we want it to be impactful, how we want it to be succinct. You know what I'm saying? So, and then think about some of the items you heard and why. We talked about that just a moment ago. And remember the individuals that you spoke with. And then remember about some of the people that you don't remember. And why the people differ. Like you have, you remember the why. You remember, you remember the energy or the seconds in which the timing was right for you. So some people, you're like, what did they do again? Why did they do that? They didn't, whether it's the energy that came with what they were saying, whether it's, the story, whether it's the repetition, the consistency, things like that, and what they were talking about is very key. So you can differentiate those in your mind. You can say, well, I saw this about 10 times today, that's why it's in my head, or I heard this, or that slogan rang a bell with me, or that story tied into, my story, and I believe in that. So think about those things, and think about the whys and the why nots. With that being said, everybody says this way. If anybody's heard the slogan, like life is like chess, right? Yeah. Not checkers. I mean, it could be like checkers sometimes. You be playing it, but or Connect for War, whatever other right? But life is like chess, man, right? Life's like chess, not checkers. Everybody says that. But so is branding, So is branding. It's a little bit, you got to think about it. You got to have strategy behind it. You got to, think about where you're going to move this piece. If this piece goes this way, the other person will respond this way. And that's the same way you think about your brand, your scene, all that stuff. It's the same way you're thinking about how the people who are interacting with your brand will respond, or how your brand will respond if you go this way or that way, certain things like that. And actually, there's an acronym for it. There's an acronym for that. One, we're going to go through chess.
5420.
So, C's for consistency. We talked about that just a moment ago. Consistently. Why do you remember certain things over and over again? You'll see it. You'll see the colors tied to it. You'll see, the brand, the thought behind it. Whatever it may be. Whether it's their slogan that you hear. It's for the people, for the people, for the people. You hear that? You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, it's the consistency of it. Imagine if they were to change that every 5 days. You'd be like, what did they say? What do they do? Who are they? Who is this guy? And who is he? Stuff like that. So you want to make sure that your brand is consistent. You want to make sure it's helpful, and it delivers that, and it shows how it's helpful for that particular person. Whether it is, there you go, come on in. What's up, guys? So you want to make sure that it's helpful. However you deliver that, however you say it, however it is in your slogan, how it is in all of your wording. Because wording is a part of branding, so the way that you repetitively use certain words, the way you say words, the way you tell your story, the emotion tied to it is very, very key. So you want to showcase the way that you're helpful to clients and other people that are looking at your brand. Energy. That's one key thing too. Think about the energy that you put off on the different brand. How does the energy go? Like, when there's a particular story that ties to, emotions, the story may not be, you don't want to be, yelling about emotional things, something that happened, or it's different energies that come with different things. Because some people think, oh, high energy, we're so cool, we're so energetic, whatever. If you're talking about that for different things, it may not match. You want to make sure whatever your brand does matches the energy in which you're trying to give off. Succinct, we talked about that. Straight to the point. You got 30 seconds, you got 15 seconds, and then you're mingling on with somebody else. So you want to make sure that it's succinct and everybody knows what you're trying to deliver. That's the, what it does, or what it was. And this is, this is the what it does, what it does. So the substance, like what are you going to take away from this? What does this mean to you? How does this tie into? What do I believe about your product? Because everybody has competitors, right? You have several different people in your market that compete to do similar things, if not the exact thing, the same thing. So what is the substance behind yours? What's the why? A lot of people forget. I'm going to say that a lot. I'll probably say it 1,000 times today. What's the why behind it? Why do I choose yours over? Why do I go to this store over this store? And why does it tie to me? Why do I believe in those particular things? A lot of people forget about that in their branding. They're like, I got something cool, why aren't people buying it? There's no story. There's no substance. So consistency. As you see the target, continually hitting the same target, continually doing the exact same thing over and over again. Whatever it may be, you want to make sure you're consistent. Stick with a good thing. So you have a good brand, you have your good slogan or whatever it may be. Continually use that. Continually use it. Make sure that you're using it and just making sure that it does work, or at least giving it time to build. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people switch things up every week, change their color. Oh, we want to rebrand. But have you even really tested your brand? Have you even really perfected your brand? Have you given it time to grow and resonate with other people? People don't necessarily think about it. And too many brands throw you different things every time. Like I said about the Morgan & Morgan. Imagine if you said all different phrases every week. It wouldn't even matter. You wouldn't have that thing, So, overall, stick to something. Some people don't stick to something. You want to make sure that you do stick with it. Let it resonate. Like I said, give it time to grow. Give it time to build. Give it time to breathe. Give it time for people to actually, hear it, see it, feel it, whatever it is. Because they never even get the time to do it. They're gonna say, okay, so where did that Nike check go? Where it was cool for a second. I don't know where. Maybe they changed it to a circle. Then they changed it to this. Is that even the same place? Is this even the same stuff going on? So whether that be, your color scheme. Somebody goes to your website, you see the same colors. Imagine if I had this PowerPoint and every slide had some crazy different color, different this, different that. You wouldn't know. Imagine if I had different, colors or different, all this different stuff. You would look at it like, I don't understand this, right? But your brain just naturally, I don't understand this. That doesn't link to the last page I just saw. So think about that from your colors, from your wording, from your imagery, and even more. So, and you think about that. Nike wasn't Nike the first day. Nike wasn't just do it the first day. If they didn't give it time to build and continue to build that brand with consistency, no one would know what it is. And it may not have grown to this multi-billion-dollar company, which any brand can be like that. It begins to resonate, and you wonder why companies just change it just a little bit once they're really big, right? They just change something just a little bit. Okay, cool. It still resonates. It's still consistent with what I remember, what I purchased, what I know about. So you got to think about that when you think about consistency. So, like some of you all stood up and said, you have your brand standards, which is very key. You want to make sure that you have the brand standards, and that allows you to have something you can look at consistently and create your brand. Because anybody, you can hand this over to somebody and say, "This is our brand. This is how we want to deliver it." You can hand it to your employees, hand it to your business partners, hand it to whomever, and say, "This is how we deliver our brand," so we can be consistent. A lot of times, people have partners or they have their employees, and they're like, "Okay, here's our brand. Okay, so what do I do with that? Where do I put this logo? How do I do that?" And when you become inconsistent, you're like, "Okay, well, your email signature looks different than mine, and this, so people don't know where you're coming from, what you're doing, or who you are anymore, because it's inconsistent. I don't know if they even work for here, I remember working for a company prior, I'm not gonna state, and I didn't have an email signature. I was like, I'm gonna seem fake. I'm gonna be inconsistent to the point. I'm not gonna seem like I'm real. So I made my own. They were like, "Oh, that's against the brand." Exactly. I need one because it's gonna be against our brand. I'm gonna look like Fugazi, for lack of better words. So I'm like, okay. So, but also, like I said, stick to it, let it grow, let it work, and give it time to tell. There's a time for rebranding and there's not a time. And some people, when we meet with them, they talk about, it's time to rebrand, or it's time for me to make a new website, or whatever it may be, and say, do you really need that? Like I said, have you given it time? Have you built it? Have you even established the slogan? Have you even established the things that resonate with the people that you want buying into your product? Because everybody wants it to transit into purchase. So, I think about it like muscles. Like, if you go to the gym every day, right? Who goes to the gym, works out, or even consistently goes to the gym?
That's how I got injured. Yeah.
That's how you got that. That's how you got that. They work on it. You're not looking too consistent over here. All right, let's think of that. Your actual company is your body, and your brand is your muscle. So the more you work out, the more you grow. You get consistent with that. So you want to continually flex your brand. Like you become more irrelevant in the gym if you don't continually flex your, continually work out, right? So you're going to become more irrelevant. You won't be able to push the same amount of weight. You won't be able to do the same kind of things in your market if you don't continually flex that brand. I talk about it all the time. So people like consistency, whether it's a store or a restaurant, they want to come and see what you're famous for. That's Mickey Drexler, Jay Kruger. He also worked for Gap and also was working at Apple. So that just, you want people to come and get what they want or what they see in you. You don't want somebody to come in the store. Imagine I'm purple, clearly. Everybody sees it. And then they walk up to me and they walk into what is my storefront in the near future and say, this is blue. This is red. This isn't the place. You know what I'm saying? So you want people to come and get what they came for, what they know you for, and just for it to resonate like that. All right. One thing we talked about briefly too is just helpful. Being helpful, and that being translatable to a goal that an individual can accomplish with you. And how does your brand help your customers? So how does what you're doing for them help them accomplish their goal? Everybody's selfish, right? Everybody wants to be a billionaire. Everybody wants to be, wants to be helped, wants them to. The reason why they come to you is to accomplish a goal. So I don't really like cats, but it's so cute. So this is you helping your customer. They know this cat at the top knows that he or she is helping her. They are pushing them to a new plateau or a new reality, for lack of better words. So your brand helps your clients, and how does it help your clients? How is it stated in your slogan? How is it stated in your logo? How can you communicate that through the branding that you're doing, or through the branding and wording that you're using? Make sure that you're communicating that through whatever your commercials are, through your radio, through every time you post something and stuff like that, because people want to know what am I buying into and how is it going to help me achieve my goals, whether it's health, whether it's helping my goals, it's where it's like helping the youth, whether it's helping my web design, photography, how is that going to capture my event? All of that stuff is very key. So you want to make sure that it resonates with them when they look at your logo, look at your business card, look at all this stuff. As soon as they hit the page, this is going to help me do this. This is going to help me do that. So one thing, the wording reflects how your users can be impacted by your product or services. So that it reflects it through all branding materials, and with your product, their outcome will differ in a positive way. So with their product, how is it going to differ from the other products? Burger King versus McDonald's, right? It's kind of like Coca-Cola versus Pepsi-Cola or whatever, the different ones, right? So, but what's funny about that is how is Burger King different as far as their slogan and everything in comparison to McDonald's? Can anybody kind of answer that? As far as how it kind of...
How they're different?
How they're different as far as their brand.
I read something recently about colors, and McDonald's using yellow has a lot to do with making something that's more recognizable and more appealing, if you will, than them using the orange brand. So I would say colors.
Outside of saying I'm loving it, McDonald's typically only has DM, whereas they have it your way, and I'm loving it hasn't even always been there.
True. And one of the things that really resonates between the two, when it comes to a branding standpoint, you think about I'm loving it, right? I'm loving it. So therefore, I'm loving, whatever it is that they provide. You're loving that. But having your way is, okay, you don't have to love everything. You don't have to love it. You love whatever you want to love at our place. And these are the type of things that you love. Switch it up. Have it your way. But it's completely opposite when you think about the branding which. So when you differentiate the two in that state, they're completely different things, and even the way that they brand, even the way that they market the bottom words of their company. So that's kind of what you want to make sure that your words differentiate, and how it can be helpful differentiates between yourself and your competitor, or just make sure that it stands for what you're trying to do and accomplish. So that's kind of the difference in those two. So if people believe they share values with the company, they will stay loyal to the brand. Harold Schultz, CEO of Starbucks. So how is it helpful? How are the values line up with me, and it's helpful to my life? It's very key, for a small little brand like Starbucks. So, I want to make sure. So energy is the E in chess. Right now we're at CHE. You know, we got a few more bricks and we're gonna have chess. You know, as far as the company, we have no horse. The short story that you get before you get the mingle across the room is very important to the energy that you give off, you know, for your brand. We talked about this a little bit too earlier. Being succinct. And that's short and sweet. But then again, you know, you want to be sweet, memorable. Not only, you know, short and sweet. Everybody has, you know, their little slogan or whatever. Imagine if you just said that. Or, you know, imagine if that's all you had to say. You know, that's all that you really had is your logo and your slogan at the bottom. You want that to be succinct in a way that people can look at it, feel it, and say, that means this. You know, you want it to hit the same, kind of the same target. So hit the same over and over again. And short and sweet in the literal sense. You don't want something to be, you know, your slogan could be 20, 30 words long, but how is that going to resonate? How can somebody then turn around to their partner? Imagine if I were to say, you guys mingle, and then turn around and say whatever you just heard to the next person. And you said a paragraph and a half about your brand. That's not succinct. Somebody would turn around and say, I think she does this, maybe. I think she does that, maybe. But some people open the sentence on, I do this, we're a white blank and a blank company. Boom. They were succinct, you know? And a lot of people have that down, but you want to make sure that you are down. You do have it down, so when somebody, you can always deliver that, whether it's on your website, whether it's on your business card, wherever it is, you can deliver those pinpoints to somebody immediately, and it's succinct. So, like I said, short and to the point. So that's pretty much sweet. So can anybody just name some powerful brands and name some slogans that kind of anyone that resonates with you all the time, you hear all the time, here in the market or whether it's national or whatever it is?
Nationwide, we're on the side.
On the side.
Nationwide.
What you got?
It hurts and not exactly. I know you heard it. It hurts and not exactly.
And not exactly.
Burger King.
Oh, I get it.
Burger King, have your way.
All states, you can hand it to you.
Alright.
Nike is just do it.
Just do it. Anybody else got one more?
Virtuoso, best of girls to grab a business card.
Oh, we doing that? Oh, okay. That's 17. Suck from the gut. Oh, we doing that?
Everybody's heard these brands. Good one. That's branding, right? That's branding. I took that one to the brand. This face the brand, right?
You're lucky I think of that first.
Whether it's like, whether it's the brands you stated, you know, what would you do for Quandai bar, you know, don't put a finger on my butterfinger, whatever the different branding tags is. I'm just kind of hungry, maybe, so. Whatever it is, you know, a lot of those are very succinct. I mean, grandma didn't start before we even, I kind of lost them. But I mean, those are very succinct, you know. So those are a lot of those are short and sweet. You remember it, why? Because it was like, it's a sentence. It's 3, 4 words, or 5 words.
Yeah.
So you remember those succinct, you know, and with those words, you can say, and you know what they're doing, or kind of the gist of what they're doing times level, right? So these clearly are some of you all stated these, you know, some of the brands that have those. You just rattle it off. It's no problem. It's easy. Some of the most powerful brands in the world, you know, they stand alone at this point. Even their slogan at this point stands alone. You can separate the two. You said just do it. You don't even have to have a swoosh. People just wear a shirt that says just do it, or just anything at this point. And somebody will say that's probably Nike. You can have Nike on, but you'll know that's kind of like Nike, you know. Or what's in your wallet, or eat fresh, and things like that. And those are very important. Some of the, like, as far as some of the branding in here too, is open-ended. You know, it can be open-ended too. So you don't want to limit yourself. When you talk about scaling, some of that has to do with making sure your brand or your slogans and things aren't limiting people. So imagine this, like, just do it, right? What is it? It can be, it could be sneezing, you know. It could be simple things, right? And they don't limit themselves to that. Now you're just do it. You're just sitting in the chair. That's cool. you know, you're just swimming, just running. So now they don't limit themselves to the way that they can sell their product. Imagine if this said, you know, our chicken is finger licking good. Then where they're limiting themselves to, okay, now we have to then rebrand because now everybody just knows, you know, we sell chicken. But now when they start selling, you know, all the other things, all the sides and things, they can continually keep their brand because they've branded to scale. And a lot of people forget to do those things. They forget that, okay, well, eventually we want to sell this, eventually we want to do this, eventually we want to do this, but your slogan is, we only do this one thing. You know, so you think about that when you're branding too. Think about, you know, the limitations in which that you don't want to create. And that's one of the things, I know I'm going back and forth from the do's and the don'ts when it comes to branding. So make sure if you're looking to scale, you're looking to do more things, you're looking to sell more products, you're looking to throw different type of events, you want to then, you know, make sure that your brand aligns with that. So if you're blank and blank parties, that's what you're going to do. You know, if you're blank and blank insurance or blank and blank this, and you want to start dipping into other different products, you want to make sure that your slogan matches that, or whatever it is that you're continually putting out there matches that, okay, we can do all these different things. Make every detail perfect and limit the number of details to perfect. So that's what we talk about. That's the thing, right? You want to make, you know, every detail perfect. So make every one of those resonate with your brand. And that's Twitter. And just something some people use sometimes. And make, you know, every detail perfect. So you want, you know, to be succinct with them and make them actually resonate. And then limit those details to perfect. So limit the details. Make sure that it's, you know, what it says and how it says it is perfect to your brand and to what you're trying to put off to other people. Last thing is substance. So that's meaning, that's purpose. So that, for lack of better words, that put some respect in your name. You know, I'm about to say that's what we talk about. This, a lot of people really forget this last S. Like, this is the most important, if not, you know, a lot of other ones are very important. This is the most important thing. What are people getting away? What is the story that people are taking away from you? And that's what commercials are. That's what, you know, slogans are. It's a short story that talks about you while you're not there. So it's, you know, so what is their substance? What is the story behind this? What exactly are they selling? Or why? You know, you want to go to a page and you're saying, okay, well, Tom sells shoes and so does Peter. But Tom's telling me that he's giving a shoe to everybody in, you know, Africa or whatever. He's, you know, Tom is doing this. Tom's aligning his why is he's got so much substance. But it's just, you know, I'm just clicking on stuff on this one. You know, it's different. They may sell the same exact product, but the substance behind the brand and how it's worded and how it's talked about, the story and all that is very different and very important to selling a product, selling a service, helping people in general. You know, so you want to have that substance behind it. And like there's one thing that I heard about as well as I read into a little bit. It's called the Firms of Endearment. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but it really talks about the firms. They had a study, I think it was 1998, and it talked about firms that had like mission statements and firms that had like branding statements and things that they followed inside, and brands that had substance and purpose, right? They have purpose. And those brands, they looked at the trends, you know, 10, 15 years later, and those brands had multiplied in value, you know, 1,600%, or they went up 1,600% in value. If they had a brand, they had substance, they had something they tied to, and everybody who walked into their facility. A lot of people forget about this branding, internal branding. People forget about, okay, when I'm a part of this brand, so now I stand for this, I am this, I talk about this. A lot of people forget about that. And the brands that had that type of substance, based on the study, and basically you can read that book, the Firms of Endearment is what it's called. You can see that those brands that continually had the substance continually grew and continually shared because they have a story to tell. They have, you remember, just like we talked about, who remembers this, who remembers that, and we remember the stories, we remember the setting in which we were in. We remember, okay, this person did that, this person does this for the community, this person does this, you know, or did this. So that's the thing that can really multiply not only the amount of reach that you have, because you can reach those people that love your story, but also, you know, that gives you literally a monetary gain, because more and more people will then spread your story organically because it has substance, it has a why. You know, the reason why I go here is because they sell this type of thing, and this one who sells the exact same thing for $5 less. I'm going over here for $10 more because this has substance and this has a reason behind it. And you want to make sure that you deliver that in all your branding and all your wording and all those type of things. So your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. And that's exactly what we were just talking about. You want to make sure that it tells that story, it says those things, those keywords, and has that substance when you walk away from it. It says, you know, we do this, we did this, we're doing this for this purpose. You know, a lot of you guys, you know, you go to your website, you see, okay, you know, everything that's going on it. But imagine the individuals, the thousands of people, the tens of thousands, whoever, you know, everybody is a successful business owner here. They go to your site. What does it say to them? You know, what does it do? And what does it, you know, what does it deliver as far as purpose for them? And they have no idea who you are. What story is it telling? So you want to make sure that it's telling the story you want it to be. You want to be told when you're not there, and that's 80% of your marketing is there when you're not there. You know, 80% of it is, oh, you know, my friend Brandon went and talked to somebody else, and the story that I talked about, he then told to someone else because it resonated with him. It had purpose, it had thought, it had substance. So he then translated that into, you know, his telephone. Imagine when somebody said something you didn't even care about. When we played that game, you went around, you were like, I don't know what you just said. It didn't matter to me. I'm going to just say this. That's what, I mean, 80% of branding at this point still, and 80% of marketing is, you know, still, I mean, we're like pretty much person to person. So think about it that way too. Everything is going to resonate and has to have a substance for it to be passed on through the telephone because it resonates with the person. Oh, I remember that because this. I remember that because X, Y, and Z. And that's pretty, I mean, that's pretty much it in the chess. So once again, you know, we talk about chess. We want to make sure that you make your brand chess, not checkers. You know, you want to think about these things every time that you're thinking about your brand. You want to think about, you know, every one of the letters and not just hop around. You know, that's what a lot of people do. That's why it's called chess, not checkers. The strategy, it's not, okay, I'm just hopping and everything becomes the same thing on the other end of the board. No, if I do this way and I don't do this over here, you know, there's different outcomes for every, you know, every movement. And be consistent, not hop around like I stated, with your brand identity. You know, when you say this, like you walk into the room and say, well, I do this. And then the next time you walk into the room, you say, well, I do that. People are like, I don't know what he does. I think he just does stuff. I think he just hustles. I think you become a hustler. You know, there's people, that's just what it is. You know, I'm just, okay, he does that, and he does this, and he does that. But what are you trying to accomplish in your brand? What is your substance? You have no substance at this point because you're all over the place. You're doing all different things. And then be succinct. Have a strategy with your brand. You want to win. Though you want to have an end game that matches your company wants and goals. So you want to win, of course. Everybody wants to make money, everybody. But if you're not succinct, you're not, you know, have an end goal to it, have this, you want it to align to something. You can win now, but you know, later on in the future when you're trying to scale, if you're not succinct, if you're not thinking about those things, you're not necessarily going to ever reach your end goals for your company, for your brand, etc. So who can tell me, Jess? Who can tell me this here?
Consistency.
All right. Consistency. Who's got the H?
Helpful.
Helpful. You want to make sure it's helpful. Consistency, like he said, you're consistently putting it in people's ear. Why do you remember things? Repetition. You know, repetition, and then it falls into the other categories as to why you continually latch on to the things. When it's helpful to somebody, they're going to come back to you. They're going to continually come back to your brand, come back to your, you know, to that thought process. Why do I remember that? Because they have this story about this, that, and the third. They help people. They're going to help me achieve my goals, etc. What about the E? Energy. Energy. Everybody got the energy here. Energy. So the energy, but not only is it just energy or highly impactful, whatever the word is, you know, you don't want to be yelling at somebody, your brand. Your brand may be whispered. You know, your brand may be, you know, just talked or repeated or whatever it is. That is different than others, but you want to make sure that that energy is actually matching whatever you're delivering, the type of services you're delivering, and your brand overall. What about the first S?
Succinct.
Succinct. Everybody's right on point with that one. So it's succinct, yeah. So you want to make sure that it is aimed at the right, you know, the right thing. It actually, what are you delivering? What are you doing? If you're all over the place, you're not hitting the target. it doesn't matter. You know, you're not succinct. You're not delivering that exact one thing that people, you know, that you're saying over and over again. You want it to be short and sweet, and this is what you're going to get when you come. You're going to just do it. You're going to, you know, you're going to do those things, or the things that we're delivering to you. What about the lastness? Substance. This is, you know, like I said, one of, if not the biggest, most, all of them are important, but substance is the best for last. You know, that's why it's there at the end. You want to make sure that it does have a why, and everything that you do has to have a why. You know, whether it's like the way that you say things, the colors you do, everything has a why. Everything is. Everybody wants to hear your story, and that's why they're going to read it. You know, you read the back of the book, and you're like, that doesn't have a really storyline that I want. And then I'm going to dig in. If it does, oh, this relates to me. I'm going to dig in a little bit. I'm going to go to page 2. I'm going to click on that buy now. I'm going to think about it like that. Think about it like a book. You read the back or you see the front. You're like, oh, that's cool. But what kind of substance? What did that bring? What kind of, you know, thought process does it come? That comes to the person looking at it, and what makes them dig in a little bit and get that substance. So Mike was actually talking about. We were talking about some of the most expensive branding and rebranding things. So, BP. What do you all know? Clearly, BP had something happen that was terrible. Yeah, Wolfsburg, right? So all this happened, and clearly they have to rebrand it. They can't come out with a logo that's like Seals or something, you know. So they can't do something like that. So what they did was they spent over 20. they spent over, like, they pretty much remade their logo to then resonate with you. If you know there's like the leaf, the flower leaf now. Is what it has become. So to make sure that everything you see resonates with, we're helping the ecosystem. We're helping that. And that's really the substance that they're now bringing to the table. Every time you see that, and they spent $200 million to rebrand all their stuff, to rebrand and buy those type of logos. So that now resonates with you. That okay, that happened, but we've changed. That's their new. They have a new story they're telling. You know, so you want to make sure that you're telling that story and having substance. But that's pretty much all I got, guys. Yes, I'm succinct. I'm pretty much straight to the point, you know, as far as everything is going. I hope that I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity to speak in front of you guys. I hope you took away a few things. This is my contact information, and I'm definitely willing to talk to anyone about it. And I'll have it on my website as well as we'll also distribute it in some form or fashion via email. And definitely, if you guys are involved or even engaged with the Black-owned business group on Facebook, we got a lot of things going on, and we're going to definitely do blackbusinessorlando.com and things like that. Continually have these meetups and things that can be of help to small businesses, to businesses that are growing, to businesses that are trying to expand, and so forth. So definitely thank you guys for the opportunity to speak, and hopefully you can take away a little bit of chess pieces, you know, from this presentation. So thanks.